welcome to That Squirrel Speaks. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd, and this is episode 144. Hi, how are you? I'm in the frame weird. I don't know what's happening. I can't make it happen. I have fiddled with the frame for okay, like 3 minutes, but that's forever. So I'm sorry if I'm a little bit, hey, it's just 'cause I'm so cool. No. Hi, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Are you doing well? I hope so. This week's episode will contain shenanigans. And it'll contain knitting. I am doing some spinning, but it's a loop bullseye bump, so it's in progress. I have some finished objects. And I'll talk a little bit about the Wool Festival, and I have some shameless self-promotion. So let's get it done, okay? Shenanigans. There's too many shenanigans this week. Oh my gosh, it's like the burst of vitamin D energy has happened, and things are happening. It's very exciting. So what happened this weekend? These are the things that happened. Okay, by the way, there's also like a totally crazy wind advisory going on right now. So you may hear strange, or you may hear branches, or you may hear lots and lots of, what are those things called? Wind chimes. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. But just FYI, if those things happen, that's what's going on. It's very windy here. Okay, so first off, I went to the Fiber event, which is a wool festival. It's here in Indiana. It happens every spring, and it's in Greencastle, Indiana, which is about an hour west of where I live in Indianapolis. I was telling somebody at the festival that the first year I went, I think it was the second wool festival I've ever been to. I'd been to one other one before I did any spinning or knew what podcasts were. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I used to be I can officially now say used to be. I used to be a very frugal knitter. Like almost to a flaw. But I like really rustic wools anyway. And I was also always a garment knitter. Like I never did a lot of accessories. I didn't knit that much, for one thing. I knit a ton when I was in college. And then I just barely knit at all because I was always really broke. And you know how it is. You just kind of like get out of the habit of something. And, you know, I didn't have an LYS and internet shopping wasn't really a big thing yet. And I was doing other stuff. But fast forward, I'd started knitting again in my adult life. I tried to knit a little bit before I had Tova for her, but even then I was just like, so I went to a fiber festival before I ever spun or anything. And again, when I was still a very, very frugal knitter. And so I really was not into it because it's a lot of spinning. And then the yarn was hand-dyed, which was not anywhere. I didn't knit socks. Like I had no idea like the time to value. Like there is a certain value. I know that sounds crazy. There's a certain value in knitting $25 to $30 pair of socks. But there actually is, there's like the amount of time it takes you, which again makes it even more ridiculous. The insane amount of time it takes you, evens out how expensive it is. But when you're a knitter who has to knit something, do you know what I mean? Like that's legit. You can spend $30 on a pair of on a hand-dyed skein of sock yarn. It's gorgeous and beautiful. And it's going to take you, 20 hours to knit a pair of socks. Or you can spend, $10 on a skein of like super bulky, even if it's only $10, and it takes you like 7 minutes to knit it. So when you're a person who actually has to have something to knit all the time, it does become value. Does that make sense? You know what I'm talking about. Why am I explaining this to you? You all know. If somebody that doesn't know is sitting next to you who knows, then they'll be like, oh, maybe I didn't know about that. But anyway, they would not. Why would they be sitting there? But anyway, whatever, going on. So I didn't really understand the whole hand-dyed thing, and I was really just like, this is not for me. So the first time I went to Greencastle's, the fiber event, I had just started to learn to spin. Like, I think I got my wheel right around the New Year's, and then the fiber event is in April. And I remember being like, oh, this is the most amazing thing. Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff, it's gonna make my brain explode. And I didn't really even buy that much because I was on a really tight budget at the time. And also I was just overwhelmed. You know what I mean? My little dog is looking out the window at the wind. Hope she doesn't bark at it. So I just was like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. And it was awesome and great and wonderful. Of course, now I've also been to Rhinebeck, which is now the, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. I've only been once, but like now the scale has slightly altered a little bit, but it's still really fun. If you've never been there, which you probably haven't, it's held at a small county fairgrounds. And if you've ever been to a county fair, there are like the long exhibition buildings, and there's two of those, plus there's a few outside vendors. So it's, I don't know how many vendors there are, but there's a good number. And there's also some really well-known vendors, like Briar Rose is there, Fiber Optic is there, right? Knitspin Farm is there, some famous people are there. She totally was. So anyway, it's fun, it's good. A lot of vendors, there are several vendors there that go on to do Maryland Sheepwood Wool and Rhinebeck and all that stuff. So there's good stuff. Plus there's local stuff. Plus it's just nice and wonderful and good. And there are roasted almondy things. Gosh, it smells so good. So anyway, it was lots of fun. I bought some stuff. I'll show you just briefly. I think this is actually literally everything I bought. Oh my gosh, I have to tell you another story. I'll tell you, I'll wait for that to the end. Oh my gosh, there's so much to tell you this week. It's ridiculous. Not even kidding you. What do you want? Annie smells fiber. Okay, so it's not in there. I'm just making noises at this point for no actual useful reason for you. I apologize. I'll try to minimize. Okay, so here's one thing I bought. Oh, I should take it out. Of course, as I mentioned, Knitspin Farm was there, and she was selling bags and bats. And I had to have all of them. But I especially had to have this one because, oh, look at that yellow pop. And I really don't have a lot of these rose colors for spinning. So this is a bat with lots of stuff. BFL, Corriedale, Cheviot, Falkland Merino, Sorry Silk, and Silk Noil. And it is so pretty. Of course, Joanna always does a lovely job. So soft. She had one that had Angora on it, and she very wisely put it at the top of the pile because, I kid you not, in the time I was standing there, of the people who approached her table, I think 95%, okay, maybe there were not actually 100 people, so I can't technically say 95%, but let's say 90% of people were, I had to put it there. Right, I can't help it. So I got that beautifulness. Let's just totally ignore that my fiber stash is out of control. I gotta spin more. I gotta knit more. I don't know what makes more. All of that. It's definitely spring. I'm like, yes, let's do everything. I bought this sock blanket from Briar Rose. To be honest with you, I don't really know why. But it was, I'm sorry. But I love these colors so much. Right? And she didn't have any other fingering. I really was like, if I'm buying yarn, I want to buy a double. Oh, I didn't bring that over. There's one thing I didn't show you, but I'll show you next week because I'll be using it. Oh, I had told myself I was going in, I was looking for like 2 skeins of fingering weight to do a larger shawl they're semi-solid. But Briar Rose didn't really have any fingering weight that I saw. Maybe she did and I just didn't see it. But I did like this sock blank, and these are my colors. I like them. And it's a 75 merino, 25 nylon sock blank. I hope it's superwash. It doesn't actually say that it's superwash. I assume it is. I guess we'll find out. But I thought either I would make socks for me or for my mama because she would like that too. And then, oh my gosh, where to even begin with the insanity? Please tell me. Oh no, okay, good. So in one of the barns, there was, there's usually some animals there, like Joanna's friend who she bought her Clun Forest sheep from. She had her sheep there, or a few of her sheep there for demonstration purposes. Well, not really for demonstration purposes, just because they're cool. But there are usually a lot of like bunnies and things like that, some other fiber animals. So there was a bunny again, and let me just discuss. I'm trying to get to the picture of it because it was the most insanely cute. I'm trying to pick the best picture of it because, well, there isn't a best. Can you see this bunny? Oh, it's so tiny. It was a 3-day-old bunny, and it sat in my hand, and it was the most chill. It was an Angora rabbit. It was the most chill rabbit ever. It just sat in my hand, and its little back foot just hung over the edge, and it was all like, hey, I'm a rabbit. I'm really soft. Okay. Yo. Oh my gosh, I cannot explain to you how much I was like, ah. It was nuts. It was all I could do not to do the like up and like the crazy dance. I got so excited. She was like, oh yeah, you can hold it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so calm. I had a rabbit when I was a kid and it was a terror. I was like, but that's probably because it was from a pet store, you know, and it was already like an adult when we got it. It just chewed all the wires. It was not a nice rabbit. It was not socialized. It was not the rabbit's fault. This rabbit was so cute. It was really, there were a good 90 minutes of my life trying to figure out some sort of justification for owning an Angora rabbit. There's none. I have no justification. Now, if the Angora rabbit grew Cormo, then yes, we would have a whole flock of them in the house. I would just be vacuuming little rabbit pellets forever, happily, forever. But really, I don't need it. I don't even really... Angora is really nice blended with other things. Like, Joanna had bats, and I bought a bat last... Well, it was a bat or some roving. Anyway, I bought some Cormo Angora, and it was insanely soft. So it's not, I'm not dissing Angora in any way, but I have a dog that's like a part Schnauzer, which is like an animal that was bred to chase and kill rats. So I should not have bunnies in the house. But let me just discuss. It was really hard not to figure it. It was really hard. It's like, I gotta figure it out. You can't eat them. I know you're all like, oh my gosh, we're talking about how cute it is. But there's like not even that, like maybe out, you know? They're not a dual purpose animal. Oh my gosh, so cute. So since she let me hold that rabbit, I had to buy something from her. I know, right? Like I can't just walk away, but so I did buy some Angora from her rabbits. I just bought 2 little 1-ounce bags. And Joanna was like, are you gonna blend out something? I was like, I don't know, should I? But it occurs to me that she did show me some yarn that was Angora and it was crazy. So I probably would blend it with something. But anyway, it was so fun. And then I also bought this really crazy shawl pin, which I'm kind of excited about. It's from Jewel, J-U-L. And this is a twig lace pin. And look, well, I should have taken it out of the bag. It is the traditional circle with stick, which I enjoy. They had many that were just stick. But sometimes with just stick, I don't know, I worry that it's going to slide out of there. I know. I'm not together enough to do just the stick. But there was one with a ram on it that I was like, oh, I need to grow my hair out just so I can use that as a hairpin. Is it focusing? Focus, little camera. Anyway, this is really cool. Just looks like a twig growing in, and it has a little wooden doonudie. They're really cool. And this stick, the one that was the twig, I could have maybe figured out because it was almost like a Y twig, and so it probably would have stuck in there really well. It was a decision, I tell you. It was a decision. I can buy that one next year when I go back, and hopefully she's a 3-day-old buddy I can pet again. But anyway, they are vintage fibers, and they are online, so I should mention that. Vintage fibers, and it's, well, they're vintage fibers at me.com. Is their email, but I don't see their Louette retailers. They have Angora rabbits, roving yarn, buttons and books. Oh, it's in giant print at the top. They're vintagefibers.com. Vendors. Anyway, they were super lovely. The young woman that I was speaking to who let me hold the rabbit. By the way, I didn't strong arm her. She volunteered to let me hold that rabbit. I told her she should just charge $5 to get your picture taken with that rabbit. I would have paid $5 for that. But, and she was very sweet and very knowledgeable and all around very enjoyable. And then I believe it was her father. I'm not sure, but I believe it was her father because she seemed to indicate that it was a family business. So wearing overalls and carrying an Angora rabbit. I'm sold. Give me all the stuff. Right. They probably living a good life. I can't. That's good stuff. My hair's whatever. I didn't shower for you. Don't judge. I've been washing fleece. Just step off. Because then I'll talk about that. So the other thing that happened is every year when I'm there, Westfield Woolies is there, and they always have Cormo. Sometimes they have Cormo Angora. Anyway, they're super lovely ladies, and I wrote their names down because I was going to be all clever. Did I bring it? Anyway, they didn't ask me to. It's not a solicitation. They're Westfield Woolies, and they always have Cormo, and I always get roving. And they always have bags of fleece, and I'm always like, that's nice. And this year I totally was like, yes, give it to me! Really? Now, luckily, you could buy it by the pound. You did not have to buy the whole fleece, because Cormo fleeces can be rather gigantic. I shouldn't say gigantic, but I'm not buying 9 pounds of fleece at this point. Give me a minute and a half, I will. So I got to buy 3 pounds of it, and it was so pretty. Here, I'll show you the pictures of it. Well, I'll show you a few pictures I tried to take. Maybe I can put them in at the end so that they're not showing up so blue for you. That would be like what a professional would do. Come on. But look at that. Maybe I'll try to put it in. So pretty. So it's not a jacketed fleece. You can see down at the bottom that there is definitely some. But it was so gorgeous. I couldn't resist. And I've washed, and see, this is the dirty tips. And you can actually tell by looking at that. But one of the things I kind of realized, I'm shaking the whole table. My joy is big. It cannot be contained within my giant body. So I was like, dirty tips, that's fine. I do that. That's no problem. What I didn't really realize, because this is the first, I washed some fleece. Sadie, who is Knitter's Nightmare, had Yarnivore podcast, taught a class at SSK about washing raw fleece. So I took that. She had a jacketed Corriedale. So I've never washed an actual, have I? I tried that once, that experiment where you just let it ferment to wash it. That's a whole other thing. That was a humbling experience that did not end well. Although, I bet I could do it again. No, I don't need to do it again. I kind of want to do it again. Oh, well, just knowing what I know now, I kind of want to do it again. But anyway, what was I even talking about, people? Oh, so this is the first time I believe this is the first time I've washed a non-jacketed fleece. And again, it's only 3 pounds. It's not that crazy. But what I didn't realize is those dirty tips, it's not just dirt. There's a lot of VM in there. Because I was looking at the fleece, I'm like, there's not very much VM in this vegetable matter. Straw, hay, sticks, whatever. Seed pods. There's really not that much VM in here. This is very exciting. I was very excited. Well, what I realized was when you wash it, those tips that look just like they're just dirt have a ton of tiny VM in them. That look. So it's not like this fleece is bad. For one thing, it was not expensive, and some of it really does look like this. This is after it's being washed. So obviously, before I drum card it or just flick it or whatever, I need to open those ends up because that's the outside to the world end, and this is to the sheep end. There weren't very, from what I can tell so far, there don't seem like there were very many second cuts, which is awesome. And again, these will just open up. And if you're just strum carding it, you can just finger pick it. How much do I want a wool picker? Why can't I ever do something part way? Okay, I'll just tell you how much I spent on this fleece. It was $11 a pound. I'm sorry, this thing is rocking. I'm too excited for life. So I've only spent $33 on this Cormo so far. I knew that it was just like an learning experience. It was not a huge investment. That's like a dinner out that's of not that great expense. I was like, I'm gonna just see what happens, right? Instantly it has spiraled into, I need a wool picker, I need a drum carder, I need all the things. So my $33 fleece, in my head, now this is not in reality, I'm going to say it out loud so I don't actually do it. I'm not going to buy a wool picker unless something crazy happens. Like I buy a wool picker. Dang it. I've always got it out. But in my head, that's immediately what I go to. I have to immediately research, ooh, what are all the wool pickers that are currently available? Oh, what does that cost look like? Oh, how much is a drum carder? What's that about? Settle down. So quite frankly, it would be cheaper for me at this point to just put this fleece in a bag somewhere and never look at it again. I don't need all those things to process this fleece. They're just about time efficiency. But anyway, do you do that thing too? Ridiculous. So ridiculous. Oh, fancy kitten. Oh, what's that about? Oh, and if you've ever looked at wool pickers, they're totally terrifying looking. It's like a medieval torture device. It involves lots of sharp, like filed down nails. Some of them have like a swinging arm, other ones slide, but the job is to pick the wool apart. So, I mean, things are happening. But let me just discuss. There's a YouTube video of, is it Alan Green's triple picker? I can't remember. But anyway, where it's like it sits on like a picnic bench and you feed the wool into it and the thing swings and it shoots the clean wool or the picked wool out the other end. And I was like, what must I do to have that happen in my... I do not need that in my life. For my 3 pounds of fleece that I've successfully washed at this point. Why can't I just shut myself down? Now I have to go all the way out. All the way out. But it is really fun. It's so fun. Okay, so sorry. You were like, we did not want to go along on that ride with you. So this I could totally just flick out and just spin it from the lock like this. If I had washed it all very carefully, it would all probably look like this, but I was just impatient. And as I was telling you, those tips that I was like, oh, that's just dirt. No, it's this. Okay, there we go, camera. It's like this tiny, particulate hay, grass, alfalfa feed, whatever. Oh, curse you! But, so again, that can either, hopefully some of that will come out when I pick it by the triple picker will. Wool picker, you're looking so sexy right now. Oh my gosh. So sometimes some of that comes out during picking, or even like if you hand pick where you're just pulling it apart, if you were going to use a drum carder. And then some of it hopefully will come out during carding, but some of it's just going to be in there for life. And really, I have plans to dye this wool probably after it's spun, because I'm not really big into white wool. So some of that would not even, whatever, I'm just talking. Why do you let me talk this much? You need to shut me down from over there. You just like got sucked into my internal monologue. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But anyway, I will say this. So fun. I mean, it's all ridiculous, right? It's crazy town. Bonkers land. It's still fun. I had so much fun for that $33. If I don't ever touch it again, that was way more than $33 of entertainment. I researched all sorts of crazy stuff that I would have not otherwise researched. I got to touch, I love raw wool. in an intense way, like in a very endorphin releasing way that I can't explain. But when I was like putting it in, I didn't want to even wash it. I know, isn't that weird? But you saw the picture. I'll try to put the picture up so you can see better. But like, it was just so, I did not want to wash it. I just wanted to like put it in a bowl and look at it and touch it. Maybe I should have just done that. I should just put some in a bowl and just left it. But it's so awesome. And it's like all crimpy and it's so beautiful and it's shimmery and the lanolin is in it and it's just, oh, so cool. It was this was a skirted fleece. This is a non-poop area, just FYI. So that in and of itself was totally worth $33. Oh, I also used the Unicorn Power Scour. I can't really speak to how good it is because I'm so new at this that I will say this is this felt very lanolin-y, this Cormo. Although I'm not going to tell you that because I really don't know. But it was more lanolin-y than, for example, the Coopworth that I washed. And it was dirty. I mean, the tips were again, it was not jacketed. And I washed it twice with the Unicorn Power Scour, and I think, to be honest with you, I probably should have just washed it once. I don't know that the second wash was even I don't know that it did much of anything, but I did wash it twice, and it was very pleasant. It smells very nice. It was very easy to rinse, which I enjoyed. Yeah, well, I don't know. It seemed nice, but right? It is just so fun. Yay, sheep! Thank you, universe. Thank you. I'm gonna like cry about how much the sheep. Oh my gosh, I need some sheep. Okay, moving on. That was my Corbo. I don't even know what to talk about now. Okay, I have some finished objects. I finished my Lelo, which do I need to look up who it was by? I probably should because that's cool to do that. The Lelo, which is by Shannon Cook. So it's L-A-Y, just like lay low. And mine is in Miss Babs in her Northumbria, I believe. It's the one that's BFL. Fingering weight. And then it's in Wandering Wools. Oh, here I have it. Go me. Mine is in Miss Babs hand-dyed Northumbria 4-ply BFL. It's fingering weight. And it's in the Zombie Games colorway. That's the variegated. And then also Wandering Wools, Ossable Sock. You can't even see that. I don't know why I'm pretending. Which is an MCN. So I have this much of the Miss Babs left, and that was originally 437 yards. And I did the pattern for once exactly as it was indicated to do so. So this is how much I have left. And I was afraid that it was going to be too small. Boy, did that shit block out. So here it is. And I'm still not confident that I'm showing you the right side. Okay, I'm not. I'm showing you the wrong side. So here it is. Ooh. And so there's the Ossable sock on the bottom. Oh, did I say that's knitting in the Nashville Night colorway? Sorry. It was a SSK goodie bag. So it is it's a very nice shawl. I'm 5'8". I have longer torso than legs. Or at least I don't know if that's technically true, but I have a long torso. And if I just wear it like right on my shoulders, it reaches to my waist easily. And this is an excellent shawl if you do like a shawl just to stay put. It stays put. Anyway, it's very nice. It's going to be a gift, but I could totally knit this for myself again. I think. I'm not making that up, right? And it does have, it's mostly garter stitch, but you have fun little drop stitch dropped wraps sections in the middle that then you carry on to the border. I was a little concerned that in the picture it looks like it's very rounded on the bottom, and I kept looking at the pattern thinking I'd done something wrong, because when you knit it, it does not look rounded. It just looks like it's what's that called? A trapezoid? Yes, because this is a parallelogram. It just looks like a trapezoid. And so I kept thinking, am I increasing too fast? Am I not reading it right? I read it a couple times. I'm like, no, this is all right. But it really is because these drop sections will block out much larger. And so it brings that bottom edge down. And you could have blocked it into a perfect rounded corner. I didn't because I'm lazy. So what I did is I just washed it. And then I have like a balance ball, like an exercise, like the 55-inch, like big exercise balls that I sit on while I'm sewing because I'm crunchy like that. It's orange. Don't be too jealous. And what I really did is just washed the shawl and put it on the exercise ball overnight. That's all I did. I did not. But I like how it looks. I mean, again, you could actually make this, as in the pattern, it's pictured very curved. Like so you could definitely block it so that it's like it's an actual curvier shape rather than the slight corner that I have. If you wanted to. I didn't want to. Don't judge. It was very enjoyable. I like it a lot. And it grew humongo. So, yay that! And then the next thing I have finished was almost finished last week. And even this was pretty darn close last week. But the thing that I had finished last week was my Seon shawl. And it's S-A-M-E-N by Stephen West. Oh, the wind is really picking up. My husband works on booms, like they work on power lines with. I'm like, he's going to show up any minute. You can't put those things up in the air with a high wind. It's dangerous. So I've talked again. I did weave in ends. Oh, no, I didn't. I'm a liar. I didn't even weave in the ends, but I blocked it. Are you ready for how crazy this is? It's pretty awesome. This was another one. I keep forgetting. This was another one. I was like, this is 5 skeins of yarn. And it's a good 4.5 skeins of yarn, figuring weight yarn. You hold it doubled throughout. And I thought, this thing is not going to be big enough. And again, when I blocked it, I just washed it and then laid it out on a futon. I didn't pin it or do anything fancy. So here it is. So there's the spine. This is an asymmetrical shawl. And then here's the part with the short rows in it. It's a good thing I wasn't topless. It's still going. Oh, it's still happening. Oh, things are still going on here. I need that yodel guy from The Price is Right. So this is going to be an awesome wintertime shawl. And again, you get the little, oh, that's the wrong side, but you get the fun eyelets in the short row section, which I really enjoy. And this is a great winter shawl. And it's asymmetrical, so some people are kind of weirded out by asymmetrical shawls. But the good thing, I'm wearing a hoodie, which is not the best thing. But so you can wrap, and then this thing, you can just like wrap it like a crazy person. You could wear it this way, because I know this looks kind of goofy, but my house gets really cold in the evenings. This is perfect. This is all of your body heat is in your stuff. It's not going anywhere. Thank you, body heat. I made you. You stay with me. Do my bidding, body heat. And so, right? You could even do that. I'm telling you. Where does my hair end? Where does my shawl end? Where does my curtain end? It's a mystery. Isn't it fun? I know. I totally want to make a lighter weight fingering one. It's so awesome. So this is definitely, look at that. You can do a lace weight one too, which is smaller. Oh, I did abbreviate mine a bit because I ran out of yarn. Again, part of it was just because I did the wonky thing where I didn't, in the pattern as is written, every row should be heathered, marled, whatever, and I did not do that. So, but there actually should have been another short row section and another stripe. Right. And I'm a big lady. Again, as I mentioned, 5'8", and I'm a big lady. This is a big shawl. Look at that. I'm not standing up too much because I'm not wearing a bra. Whatever. So yay, that. Right? That is so fun. This is so fun. All things are fun. It's fun times. Okay, how much time do we have? Oh my gosh, 36 minutes. Okay, so I will talk about this. I won't talk about a very exciting project to start on that I just started and I love it. But I'll tell you about next week. Very briefly, I should also mention that I got an email, well actually it's on Instagram, and then I got a Ravelry message. And so I am knitting Corey, who is I Rock Knits, who has always been very generous, not just with me, but with our knitting community in general. Her daughter, who is Mini Pearl Girl. How is that one not already taken? It's Mini, M-I-N-I, Pearl, like the stitch, P-U-R-L, Girl, G-I-R-L. How is that already? So she's Mini Pearl Girl on Ravelry, and she is doing a senior capstone project, and she is trying to get 50 purple, at least 50% washable, and then at least 50% purple. You can wash half the set. Purple, 50% washable. I did it again. Washable, 50% purple. Baby hats. She's doing a capstone project as part of the Shaken Baby, what's it called? Click for Babies. That's what it is, right? I'll look it up really quickly. But you can find all the information on her Ravelry persons page. So again, it's Mini Pearl Girl. So I'm doing a purple baby hat. I'm just doing the umbilical hat, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. And it calls for fingering weight yarn in purple. Hi. Which I just happen to have from finishing that shawl. Normally, I don't have the purple yarn, I don't think, but serendipity and whatnot just brought that in. How fun is that? So I happen to have some purple yarn. I could get that started. She needs them by the end, like she needs to have them in her hand, I believe, by the end of May. She's in the US. What else is it? That's right. That's what I need to say, right? Oh my gosh, why can I not find things? Click for Babies. Okay, I did say that right. And then if you're, again, you can find out Mini Pearl Girl on Ravelry page. Okay. So yeah, that purple baby hat. It's just plain stockinette. Easy peasy. And I wanted to make one with a little thing on the top because it's just always enjoyable. Okay. Shameless self-promotion. It's really short. There will be a shop update. It's a little shop update. It's going to be this Friday, which is Friday, April 24th. 24th? Yes, Friday, April 24th. And it will be a small update. It will be at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I don't typically repeat fabrics. However, I loved the Granny Gardening fabric so much. If you recall, I did do some of these for the Knitting Pipeline Retreat. But I loved it so much. And there was such a positive response to it on Instagram that I may have ordered some more. So these gals will go up on Friday. It's just these bags. It's going to be a large wedge, which is this size, and then a sweater size, which I don't have finished yet, quite frankly. But just imagine this fabric, and it's about that big-ish. There will be handles, of course. Normal unbleached liner. So just those gals on Friday, the 24th. Yes, it totally is all. I hope you have a great week. Oh my gosh, we totally went hiking too, and I didn't even tell you about that. Right? It was too much good stuff. Anyway, it was not a big hike. Do we have a moment? I'll just tell you. You can turn off if you're not interested. There's no more knitting. We totally went to Shades Park, which is adjacent to, what's it called? Something Pines. Anyway, it's the first state nature preserve. It's the first nature preserve in Indiana. State sanctioned. I don't know. And they have a hike called the Devil's Backbone. Now, Indiana, and this is like, Shades is about an hour and 15 minutes west-northwest of us. So it's in the very flat part of Indiana. If you know it, this is a glacial part of Indiana. But there are these weird pockets, Turkey Run and Shades Park, where there's been crazy river erosion. Well, not crazy, but there's been significant river erosion that has shown very interesting geological formations for flat-tastic Indiana, okay? It's not the Grand Canyon. But when you're in Indiana, you'll take what you can get. So, there's really fun. There's this place that's called Honeycombs Rock, and it's a sandstone rock that's been weathered away to the point where it looks like honeycomb. Like it's all... It is so cool. And then there's the Devil's Backbone, which I told you about last year probably, at about the same time, which is a formation that's been weathered such that, and I can't remember if it's supposed to be sandstone. It must be sandstone too, right? There's lots of shale and sandstone. There's lots of, what are those called? It's not composite. What are the ones that are called? Whatever. Compression-based rocks. I guess all rocks are compression-based, but anyway. It is weathered away, this ridge line, essentially, that is in place. It says it's 6 feet wide, but my husband is 6'4", and there is no way he could lay down in places of that pathway. There are certain places that can only be 4 feet wide. Because there are there's one specific place where even I'm not particularly sensitive to heights. I do get a little bit nervous if there's no guardrails, which there are not. But there's when you go up the hike, it's only like a 2-mile hike. It's not like that long of a hike, but it's strenuous because there's like this very brief portions that are a big elevation change. And I mean, again, it's Indiana, so I mean like, 100 feet elevation, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when it's steps or even more challenging, crazy tree roots that you're climbing up, and you're me, and you might be carrying a couple 100 pounds extra. Hush, it's challenging. So, because again, there's just like a lot of like, whoa, what's happening? And the part that you get up to actually go to the Devil's Backbone is challenging to climb. I mean, I would imagine it's relatively challenging for anybody because, well, except for like super fit people, super fit traily people, because it's just challenging to like find your footing and like, because it's just, again, it's just like a very weathered, there's going to be some, I don't know how they're going to fix that. That erosion is tearing that up. I can't think about it. That's not my responsibility. But so you're climbing up these like intense tree roots and then when you get up onto the ridge, as I discussed last year, there's a place where there's a ledge that is like a 90-degree angle ledge, or it's like a 3.5 to 4 foot drop from this point to the next point. So you have to get on your butt, and there's like a little bit of a foothold back under, because it actually is not just it kind of goes like this a little bit, but there's some footholds like right through here that you can kind of, and hopefully you have somebody else if you're not as limber in the world. You have another person that you can be like, just stand there so I can just put my hand on you just in case. So you have to like shimmy down that part, and then so you're already committed. You can't go back. So then you're walking on and there's trees and shrubbery that are growing along the sides of the drop off for part of it. And that feels relatively secure. It just looks like you're looking down a tunnel of green, But then it opens up to where it's actually just sheer rock. And it's a little scary right there. Makes me a little nervous. A little bit. Because right before that spot, there's another ledge you have to shimmy down that's about, well, again, my husband is 6'4", and it's up to his chest. Like, the little dog does not like it. He has to pick her up and then put her down so he reaches, and it's like right at his chest, and he's that tall. So it's a big drop off. And so as you're like looking at this drop off, the drop off, the ledge is like this wide. But then when you step down, it's only like, I'm saying this wide. It's like this wide. It feels about that wide. But no, it's wider than my body. But it's still narrow. It's kind of fun though. It's scary, but it's fun. It's a little bit, woo, that's fun. And then you just shimmy down the other side of the ridge or whatever, and it's very challenging for me, for everybody, even my husband, who is like very simian? Like he can hang and jump and climb on stuff. Even he has to get on his butt sometimes and get over a ledge. Well, maybe not all the way down. Yes, he did. I totally remember that now. So basically, I need to remember when I do that I should wear those, like, remember those pants that were like a big thing for a while? Okay, they weren't a big thing, but they were a thing. That had like the butt flap on them. Remember it was like it was like a street look. It was like, I don't think it was a raver thing, but they were like big baggy pants and they had a butt flap, and the flap often had something on it. I needed those pants basically, or just needed like a pull away butt covering. Because when I got done, after I got off that hill, which I forgot, it looks like I slid down the hill on my butt, which I kind of did in places. Whatever, it's better to be humbled by having dirt on your butt than have to be like helicopter evacuated. That's all I'm saying. Just swallow your pride. Don't break your ankle. Whatever. So now I've officially talked way too long. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk next time.